You've joined me on JCB stand with Joe Edelston, Product Manager for Wheeled Telescopic Loaders. And obviously behind us we've got one of your new products, Joe.
Yes, that's correct. So we've got our 403 electric model. This actually complements the existing range of 403 diesel models. The machine is actually being formally launched today at LAMMA. But the machine itself, first of all, it's electric, obviously. We developed the machine and launched the machine just over back in June, July time last year, which was a canopy option. And today we are formally launching the cab option as well. Okay, so the machine itself is designed for as an alternative really to a diesel. So any customer, any farmer, so to say, is looking at moving away from diesel to electric, and currently has a machine of this size on their farm, then this may be a solution for them. Customers obviously running or have solar panel technology on their farm, whether it's wind turbine or let's say solar, then effectively you can harvest the sun's energy or the wind, etc. And then formally you can actually charge this vehicle for free if you look at it that way as well. Yeah. The machine itself is a 20 kilowatt system. Okay, delivers roughly between 4 to 5 hours of runtime, which is where our current diesel model runs on average today in terms of the utilization of the product on the farm. The system itself is a 20 kilowatt system. We use a class-leading battery design because beauty about electric is about putting confidence into people, and we've chosen a top quality automotive battery. We believe by putting that into the machine that we can prolong the runtime of the machine, and in this instance where we've got a cab now fitted, where we've got a heater on board the machine, we now have the ability to not only heat the cab but also not affect as such the runtime of the machine by dissolving the battery voltage, if you will, on board the machine.
Yeah, and I suppose obviously this is a diesel alternative, and there's obviously a little bit of skepticism sometimes with people moving away from diesel.
Correct.
Do you feel that the product matches an equivalent diesel product now?
Yeah, absolutely. So during the development, we historically looked at all the 403 diesel machines in the field, and you get roughly, and we know what the average runtime of the machine is today. During the development program, we actually said that let's try and make the 403 electric run that little bit longer than a diesel on average per day. So for example, our current customer base today runs 3 to 4 hours, okay, and that's throughout the whole day. Okay, that's in the morning feeding the animals, a bit in the afternoon, and so forth. With the electric model, we've developed a machine to run between 4 to 5 hours on one single charge. Now reality is, and that is continuous use, okay? So reality is you'll probably be able to get through 2 days if you're using it lightly around the farmyard, you know what I mean? So, and obviously if you have to do charge it up anyway, then that could be done at the end of the day, so which is then an overnight charge, 8 hours, and it's back to 100% again. So.
Yeah, obviously with it being an electric vehicle, it's not effectively emitting the same heat from the engine, and lost energy that you have with a diesel vehicle or a combustion engine vehicle.
Exactly.
How are you overcoming, I know you briefly touched upon the heating system that you've incorporated into the machine. Yeah. How are you overcoming some of that, I suppose, necessary heat that you need in the operator's environment, and obviously it not depleting the battery too much?
Yeah, so we also know that obviously if you run a heater inside the cab, naturally you're going to start to eat into the battery runtime. We've developed with an outside company a much more efficient heater that uses effectively less energy than, say, a standard traditional heater, if you will. And because the cab is naturally small anyway, then the actual service area inside the cab is less to heat. Now, we also said, well, at the time, if we could make the operator feel warm, i.e. contact heating, then you shouldn't necessarily need to use the heater as much inside the cab. So because of that, we've now got a heated seat, which then gives the contact heating for the operator. But also another feature for us is that we have what we call machine preconditioning. So what that means is that we can program the machine to warm the cab up prior to the operator arriving at the machine. So for example, in the morning, we'll say that the operator comes to the machine at say 7:30 in the morning. We program the machine to say that's the time that you arrive at the machine, 7:30. The heater itself will heat the cab 30 minutes before that time and up to 15 minutes after that time while still on charge.
Right, okay.
So the cab's fully heated and we've still got 100% battery.
Ready for use.
Ready for use, exactly, yeah.
Okay. And obviously, you know, you've obviously got a good repertoire in this market sector anyway, traditionally. Does it match up hydraulically, power capacity and everything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we know what our current customer base uses today. We match the same hydraulic performance. We match the same lifting performance as well. So ultimately, we're still giving that same diesel user the same performance, but with zero emission.
Yeah, and ultimately, I suppose that's what the industry is looking for long term.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
So thank you very much for that, Joe. We'll jump across to some of the bigger models in your range now, if that's all right. Okay, you've joined us with the JCB's TM420, and do you want to just give us a little bit of an overview?
Absolutely. Yeah, so on our trade stand, we've got the TM320S, which tends to be aimed at the customer dairy livestock user, 3-ton capacity machine. And then we have our flagship TM420S, which you can see here. This product itself, it's been out on the market for a couple of years now. It delivers 173 horsepower engine, and we targeted the machine, to be fair, at the large scale dairy farmer who wants increased output really. But also there's an element of the smaller scale contractors, ag contractors for silage work, for example. So the beauty about the product itself is it's obviously a wheel loading shovel, okay, with a telescopic boom, so you get that increased versatility, increased lift height and forward reach, and it just ends up being a much more productive machine.
Where does this sit lift capacity wise, Joe?
So the machine itself will lift 4.1 tons, lift height is 5.45 metres, and that quite happily satisfies those customer needs like effectively. Yeah.
Okay, and obviously you've brought it on the show today. You've got a few little product developments with this particular machine, have you?
So just to give you an overview of the machine really, I said before it was a 173 horsepower engine machine. It's got an 8-speed power shift transmission in it, so it delivers 50 kph on the road, so any customer, farmer who wants to get from farm to farm fast, then this machine will deliver that. Especially the contractor side of things as well. So generally the guy on the silage clamp's always the last person to leave the farm, and he's
hopefully
racing.
First on home.
But also he's then racing to get to the next farm, and that 50 kph travel speed does help in that situation. Development wise, we have also now got an option for a integrated weigh load system.
Okay.
So we can monitor tons per hour, so the customer can set target weights. So if he's loading a diet mixer, for example, I know naturally mixers themselves already have weigh scales on them, but if we can prevent unnecessary loads arriving at the mixer wagon, for example, taking too much there and then having to take some back to the stockpile to tip off, you've lost that time. You're
creating an efficiency, effectively.
Exactly, that's the reason. So we can set target weights and so forth. We can monitor machine output, and it just ends up creating a much more better experience for the operator, really. That information is also transmitted via LiveLink, our telematics system. So with us from the factory can actually monitor machine usage, machine tons per hour, and there's a lot more data behind the scenes that we can see as well. So, and then that data helps us in developing our next generation product as well.
So obviously this machine behind us, what sort of specification have you got on the machine?
So this one in particular is being specified with the larger 620 tyres. We find that they're really good for those customers using the machine for silage work, because you're compressing much more surface area per cycle. This one's specified with the Contractor Pro Pack, which gets you a lot of nice to have features. So
bit of bling,
that's it, yeah. So we get the 360-degree LED lighting package, which obviously works really well at night. We get the chrome exhaust stack pipe for those customers who are into the shiny tin work, so to speak. Twin beacons, which seems to be the norm nowadays. A better seat inside the cab, which is a super deluxe seat, which is heated and air cooled and leather trimmed as well. And we get other like a in-cab cool box and so forth as well. So we get quite a lot of creature comfort, shall we say, that kind of add to the overall driving experience as well. So.
And I suppose the machine now, it's been in your portfolio for a few years.
It has, yeah, since stage 5. So stage 5 was, feels like 2 years ago. It probably is 2 years ago now, thinking about it. And that was, that was when we had to change the engine to a stage 5 emission compliant engine. It was when we actually introduced the TM420S at the time. And ever since then, it's gone from strength to strength.
Thanks for that, Joe. We've got a few more bits that you want to just show us around, so we're going to have a look at those now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we're moving up in the world of wheel loaders now with the 435S. Obviously, it's been around in your portfolio for a couple of years.
That's correct, yeah.
Do you want to just give us a bit of a product overview of it, Joe?
Absolutely. So the 435S model has been designed aimed at the high-performance silage contractor. The machine itself delivers big performance, and it's for those customers who want to achieve high output forage harvesting. Now, in terms of the actual performance of the machine itself is 252 horsepower and nearly 1100 newton meters of torque. And the reason behind the size of the engine is that it gives us a high performance, high power to weight ratio machine. So the TM420S, for example, that's punching at 17 horsepower per tonne, and the 435S also punches at 17 horsepower per tonne. And we believe that is what you need to have a machine that is capable of keeping up with the forage harvester.
Yeah, I suppose you want a machine that's got the capacity on clamp that can cope with that everyday push and drive to get everything cropping, harvested, and away you go again to the next farm.
Exactly, yeah, and the machine runs a 6-speed power shift transmission, which is 50 kph on the road. So, like I said before, the guy out on the butt rake, so to speak, he's always the last person to leave the farm, and he needs to get to the next farm, and it's all about speed and time. And obviously, this machine does deliver those two attributes.
Yeah. Obviously, quite a sizable machine. Overall lift capacity.
Yeah, so basically, first of all, the machine mass is like 15 tons roughly in this configuration with the fork on the front, and you're looking around about 4 tons really payload, a bit more because naturally nowadays you fit a high tip bucket on the front of this machine to give you the extra lift height if you need to load like high sided spreaders, for example. So you're always carrying the bucket weight as well, so you've got to take that into account. So naturally payload wise, realistically it's about 6 tons, but you've got to take off the bucket weight to give you a material capacity weight as well.
Yeah, and I suppose you briefly just touched on that. It's not just a clamp machine. Obviously, you're going to have a bit of versatility with it, with obviously loading spreaders and stuff.
Absolutely,
field.
And our customers have got to make the machine pay for itself, really. So full utilisation all year round is key, really. Yes, there are customers who just run these just purely in silage application, right through to the maize season. But obviously, for those customers who have got sludge cake contracts and so forth, do a lot of manure spreading towards the winter time, then that's where this machine would be utilised for that application as well.
And spec wise, this one's sitting contractor spec.
That's it, yeah. So again, we carry the same strategy across. So the contractor package, effectively, extra work lights, chrome exhaust pipe, super deluxe heated and air cooled seat. Fridge on board the machine because it's about keeping your drinks cold throughout a long season. These guys are sat in the machine up to 18 hours per day, throughout the season, working till 1 o'clock in the morning potentially, and they need to feel like they're just sat, at home, so to speak.
Yeah, so obviously this particular machine, you've got your buck rate grass fork on the front. I take it that's best suited to this machine, is it?
Yeah, so this one's a 14-foot folding grass fork. We find it's the best size grass fork for this size of machine. Yes, you could go marginally bigger, but then you start to take up too much that you end up losing tractive effort because ultimately on for example, handling wet grass, the surface of the floor tends to be greasy and slimy. You start taking too much, you end up spinning wheels and then you start wearing your tyres out. And then that's not the aim of the game. It's about getting the actual material up onto the clamp as fast as possible.
Yeah, I suppose you're getting the most efficiency out of that,
Exactly,
that particular size and width and capacity for the machine.
Exactly, that's the reason, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks very much for that, Joe. We'll go and have a look around your flagship model, the 457S, if you don't mind.
Well, yeah, thank you.
So, Joe, we've got this monster behind us, the 457S. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about it and its I suppose its suitability for its end user?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the machine itself was developed during the COVID pandemic, if you will. The project itself was about delivering a larger wheel loading shovel, if you will, for the biogas market, really. But there is an element where it fits into the larger contract sludge cake contractors, sugar beet loading contractors as well, and also an element of the sandwich contractor as well. So there's kind of three main customers that we were focusing the machine at.
What you getting? I mean, you're going to get more power output, horsepower outputs, hydraulic capacity.
Yeah.
Where are we looking with this?
So what we aimed was to have a machine that was circa 20 tons in operating weight, which then gives us a payload of like 7 tons, so to speak. The machine itself is 282 horsepower, 6-cylinder Cummins engine, runs the same kind of engine family as the 435S model. 6-speed power shift transmission with 50 kph, so we've got fast farm-to-farm performance. But one of the actual main objectives was for the engineering team was to develop a machine with the larger 800 tyre. Now, reality is yes, they are big tyres, but it's about being able to put the power down to the ground, but also still remain road legal on the road. So the machine's design itself has been designed to be under 3 meters wide. So legally on the road, we can drive this on the public highway, it's not a problem. But also having those bigger tyres allows us to put that tractive effort down, which then gives us that pushing performance. And with the 16-foot grass fork, you need a lot of power to be able to move that load material. And that was one of the key attributes that we delivered as part of the project. Yeah,
and I suppose like existing range, have we got any new specification upgrades in this cab-wise or any other features that's...
Yeah, so effectively this is its, this machine in particular is its first UK debut since we actually formally launched the machine. This is its first actually public exhibition, if you will, in the UK.
Yes, first at LAMMA.
Yeah, first at LAMMA, exactly that reason, yeah. But the machine itself runs the same kind of cab as the 435S model with the Contractor Pro cab with the extra lights and all the enhanced features inside there. This machine itself has got, new for this year actually, has got integrated weigh load system, so we can monitor tons per hour. So anyone using this machine in biogas can obviously monitor the number of bucket loads into the digester, the tons per hour into the digester and so forth. On the other hand, it's also got lever steer. So this is a left-hand armrest mounted steer system. So rather than using the conventional steering wheel like you would do normally, in a typical yard duty cycle, for example, we can use the lever steer system, which actually speeds up cycle times per cycle. So we get a lot more faster productivity out of the machine as well. And actually for the operator, it's a lot more comfortable as well.
And is that a standard feature on this machine, or is it an option?
No, it's an enhancement to the current machine. So effectively, that same lever steer system can be put onto, say, the 435S as well. So we can have that feature on there as well. But today, it's actually fitted onto the 457.
Also, if you're on the road, obviously, you must have a bit of switch over between going to a traditional steering wheel on the road over to...
Exactly that, yeah. So when you travel over a certain speed, it actually kicks that anyway, and your steering wheel is your primary. Okay, so if in the event of, for a reason, you have to grab all the steering wheel, that then takes full control of the machine. Okay.
Yeah, so that will naturally override the operating armrest.
Exactly, that's correct, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. And also, obviously this machine's core target market is the biogas sector. They're wanting high output, high throughput.
That's it, yeah.
Have we got enough grunt and enough guts with this machine
Absolutely,
to deliver that?
We spent a lot of time developing the machine. We spent a lot of time doing a lot of clamp work. We worked with a number of biogas facilities. both in Germany and in the UK during the development programme, and the feedback was the machine's a beast, to put it bluntly. But at the end of the day, you know, those customers that are running those machines today have all said how impressed they are by the machine's performance.
Yeah, it's got to live up to the rigours and daily output needs of that requirement.
Exactly. Yeah.
I suppose stepping forward, have you got any ambition to go any bigger than this, or is this reaching your limits?
I think with the current size of forage harvester development, if you will, you know, right now 457's pretty much, you know, on top of the game really. If forage harvester development programs from likes of the competitors, like Chrome for example, if they decide to step up again and increase their throughput another notch, then we'll obviously have to marry up with that as well. So we kind of, you know, whenever they do, we need to be reacting to that as well.
And I suppose that brings its own technical difficulties in engineering again, and bringing a machine to the market that can once again go on the road.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I would imagine you've already, you know, pushed the boundaries on this one in development just to get it.
Exactly that reason. The machine, like I say, it's 20 tons operating weight as it stands now. You start, you know, the bigger you go, the more weight you start to put onto the machine, the bigger the tyres and everything else that ends up getting, you know, increased in size. So and then ultimately the engine gets bigger as well. So you touch one area of the machine and you affect multiple areas as well. So
yeah. Also with this machine, this one's sat much like the others in a contractor spec, is it? With the full LED package.
It is, yeah. So we've designed it around the same utilisation as the 435S, but just on a larger scale. So there's still, you know, the same creature comforts are still required. You know, that utilisation all year round is still required as well.
If you had an existing user that had a 435S, would he feel just as at home if he jumped in the cab of this machine?
He would, naturally from the cab point of view. Naturally the machine's a lot bigger, a lot more heavier, a lot more, you know, bigger in size, so it would probably feel different obviously, but naturally it would be. But obviously in terms of performance, for those customers that are running 435Ss today, they run those machines because they've got the performance, they've got a size of machine that actually works in and around most customers' yards. Because naturally, if you go for a bigger 457, you've got less space naturally when you go into a small yard. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's down to whatever the customer wants to gain at the end of the day. If he wants performance and speed, then that's the machine of choice. If he wants bigger payloads per cycle, then that's the machine of choice.
No, that's great, Joe.
No worries at all.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for the roundup.
Thank you very much. Thank you.